guys, and welcome to my channel. So right off the bat, my name is Sahara. I'm 15 and I love fashion. And today I'm going to show you how I made this dress for my sister's prom. Now keep in mind I started this dress in March, and that was before I knew that COVID would end up canceling their prom, but I ended up finishing the dress. It is now summer break. I finished it before they had this small event that was kind of there to make up for their prom where they got to wear them. But if you're planning to make this dress for your prom or just for an event where you really want to look top of your game, I highly suggest you make this dress. It was super fun to make and it was super fun creating. This was actually the first dress that I created from scratch, so very special. But yeah, like and subscribe if you like the video after you watch it, and comment down below some ideas you want me to try, because since this is a new channel, I really want to see where it goes and I really want to try out new things, and I'm always up for the challenge. So comment down below some things you want me to try, some things you want me to make, some ideas you have, and I really appreciate it if you do. So I think that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoy. Let's get on to the video. Okay, so I just came back from a walk and it was freezing outside, but I came back to this. I really hope it's enough. Hey guys, okay, so trucks just decided to go by. Okay, so I finally got the fabric yesterday. I was super excited. I was a little nervous to open it because I wasn't sure if it would be like the exact same color or slightly different texture or something. However, I think I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It came out a little lighter and a little shinier than I thought it would. However, I think I can make it work. So this is what the fabric I got looks like. It's like a red, satiny, almost like silky fabric, and that's what we were going for. We were going for like a red, kind of wine red. It came out a little lighter and a little shinier than we thought, but I think we can make it work. And it drapes really nicely. I'll insert a photo of it right here. And I'm excited. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so this is the original design dress. We ended up changing it later on, so don't pay too much attention. But for the cowl neck top, we ended up following a tutorial by Judy Gao Coutour. Okay, so I just measured out 66 centimeters right here, and then I just marked it with a pin and brought it over to this side, and I got 75 centimeters. I'm just gonna fold this over like a square and then cut it. Wow, that's really annoying. It's curved. Okay, so I just finished folding it over and doing it again, and I brought it to the side, and looking at the diagram, that part right there, this just has to be 27, so I'm just making sure that this like will make it to the 27 centimeters that way. This is just so I don't use an extra amount of fabric and I have more than enough left for this. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out this square that I made, and I will see you then. Also, to make it easier when you're cutting, you might want to pin it down. I've been procrastinating making this dress for a really long time, and I got the square done, but now I'm gonna go play tennis. And you know, I'll see you at nighttime, because I will actually work on it then. Why is it so hard to just cut a square? So now for the part where we're gonna make this like rectangle here. I find it easier than to like measure all along this, just to put it here to the point where it gets to 50 centimeters, and then just draw like a straight line here, 27 like centimeters or so. Well, just like put it here and then draw the straight line down from there. That way you have your 50 centimeter mark, and then we will sew along the sides. You'll see. So I'll mark it here, and I'll mark it here, And now I have my 50 centimeter mark from here to here. Okay, so now I have my 50 centimeter mark there and there. All I'm gonna do now is just sew this in a straight line all the way along to the very end. And then we'll just cut off the excess. So I'm gonna do that on both sides. Now I'm just going to pin along the lines that I made, and I'm going to sew them. Also, make sure that when you're pinning this and like when you're gonna sew, you're doing it with the wrong side facing you. That way when you flip it, it's the good side facing out. So I just pin along there and there, and you can actually sew with the pins in. I have a really faint line, but I don't think it really matters. And then this measures to about 50 or like 52 centimeters, and it's around the same when we wanted, like the same length we wanted, and when we pleat it, it'll be fine. So I, like a dumbass, forgot to switch out my thread color in my sewing machine, so I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so I actually, before I sew it, I like went over and made it straighter with a Earth Day ruler, and this is now, well, it's still 29 centimeters this way, and it's about 52 centimeters this way. This is the stitch I'm gonna do. I haven't tested for tension yet, but that should be good. Do you remember how I was like, oh, the tension doesn't matter? It does. This stitch, like when I'm looking at it, it's pretty loose. So I'm gonna seam rip it, and then I'm going to try and find the tension that works for my fabric. If you don't know what tension is, it's basically how tight your strings are together, and it is very important. So I think I have to increase my tension. I'm gonna experiment a bit with a little piece of fabric and see what way to like decrease these strings that you see, because it should be kind of invisible. Like the last hour trying to get that single stitch here, but so many things went wrong with my sewing machine. I think I finally got it fixed, so now I'm finally gonna like just look at that. Like I just finished sewing them. It worked out. I just realized I have a math quiz due in like an hour and a half. 2 hours. Oh my god, I should not be taking a math quiz right now. Yeah, so it's like 10 o'clock. I'm probably gonna fail it, but I'm just gonna take that and then I will show you what I have. I got an A. Okay, so this took me a long ass time to get, longer than it should have, but I finally got it, and as you can see on the inside it's gonna be flipped, and I got the tension right, thankfully. If it's a little loose, it shouldn't matter because it is going to be a backless dress, so it's just going to be on the front, not on the back. So it shouldn't be stretched out too much. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut off this excess on both sides and flip it inside out. Once you have vacuumed up all the pink fuzz left on the floor, you're ready to go on to the next step. So I just flipped it inside out, and it looks like this. I'm just going to iron it down the sides. Alright, so I just tried pinning it on my sister with it flipped the right side, and then kind of just like pinning it and like trying to get the right pleats. But then we realized that I think I made this a little too big, and I think I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. And how I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna sew another line along here on both sides, just to make it a little bit smaller, that way it doesn't hang down so low. So I'm gonna do that really quickly. Alright, I'm redrawing a new line, and I'm gonna sew along there again. Now I'm going to sew the other side because I just brought this side in. Now I'm going to bring this side in. And make sure that after you sew one side, you try it on again and like kind of hold it over to see if you even need to do the other side. But in this case, I need to, so I'm going to do that. After contemplating whether or not to change the entire design of the dress, we decided not to, but I'm just going to create the straps and we'll see where we go from there. Hi, this is Editing Sahara here. So basically in this part of the video, I completely redesigned the dress. So here's the new design. But the reason was because for support, I had to make it kind of like a corset back. I basically just made 2 super long straps and I fished it through the top of the shirt. That was really loud. And yeah, so I just fished it through the top of the shirt. And then I like kind of folded it in and I sewed it so it's nice and clean. And I made these little loopy thingies out of the old straps that I messed up making because my sewing machine was kind of acting up. So what I did was I took the strap and I made it about 2.5 inches and I folded it in half like this. Now I don't know if anyone's gonna make this dress, but this is just a good hack if you're gonna ever make a shirt where you kind of want like that, the back that you can like string things through. So I kind of made it like this, and basically the back of the dress looks like this. The front looks like this, but no one's gonna see the back. So I didn't really worry about making it too clean. If you are worried about that, you can always make a little hole and just stick it through and try to sew it closed. But I'm not too sure how to do that. So then I basically just took that loop and I connected it right here and I just stitched that. I like stitched it in the back like that. That way it looks like that in the front. And then you can string your straps through whatever way you desire. Okay, so this part of the dress, this is what it looked like without the straps, and I just put a skirt around it that wasn't yet made, but I put it around it just to see what it would look like. And this is what it looked like after. It had the more corset look, and it pulled together really nicely. Okay, so again, in this part of the video, little guest. In this part of the video, I kind of stopped filming, but I had like bits and pieces. So basically I made the skirt next, and for the skirt I basically just took my sister's measurements for around her waist and like the height that she wanted it. I didn't really worry about like how long she wanted it yet because I could fix that later. So I just measured her waist and I laid that measurement out on the rest of my cloth and I cut that length out, and then I folded it in half, and I was going to sew it in a cylinder, but then I decided to actually lay it down flat and trace an old dress. So I'll kind of like try and reenact what I did. But yeah. Hi. Okay. This right here is the final dress, backless and all. And I'm going to show you a recreation of how I made this skirt. So this right here is my spare fabric. It's quite a bit actually because I ordered a lot online because there was a good deal. So I'm gonna like try and recreate it. So what I did, so in the earlier clip I showed you this huge rectangle that I had laid out on the floor, which was my sister's measurements plus like a little extra, I think. And what I did was I cut that out and I basically folded that rectangle in half, the style that, you know, we measured it with. That way it's like that, right? So I'm out of breath. And I kept it inside out, so I had 2 separate pieces of this. So I had one like this, and then I had another one like that. Together they created that huge rectangle. And what I did was I laid this on the floor. There were 2 separate pieces. Imagine this is like cut like down here. 2 separate pieces. I laid them both on the floor, and I took a dress skirt that I liked. So in this case, it was this dress here. This is the back, this is the front. And I really liked this skirt and it fit my sister really well. So what I did was I laid this dress flat on the floor. I flipped it inside out and I laid it flat right over top of my pattern with just the skirt portion from like where I wanted it from to start from. And I measured it all the way down and went to the flipped inside out with some seam allowance. And what I did for each side was, since I had 2 of these rectangles, once this is flipped inside out, the seams look like this, the insides, and on the outside it looks like that, like just a straight regular seam. So basically on each side of the skirt that I traced, because I did it in two sides since I had two of my rectangles, one for the front, one for the back. When I traced the front, I traced it with this seam allowance that I had in the dress. And I basically did that for both sides, and I didn't specify the length yet because I might have changed it later on, depending on how long my sister wanted it. And I just made the waist a little larger so it fit her better. And then I traced it with pen all along my rectangles and then cut them out. And then I hand sewed them together once I like kind of made sure it would fit her with pins. So yeah. So my skirt finally, once I hand sewed along the side, you might be wondering why I hand stitched it in the first place. It was because my sewing machine was acting up, and it was also a lot of fabric, and I felt I could do it cleaner if I did it by hand. So this is what my skirt looked like. And on the inside, it looks exactly like the dress I traced. It has the exact same like seam allowance. And then once you flip it right side out, it looks like that. Then the final step in finishing my dress was, once it was on her, I basically took the two pieces, my shirt and my skirt, and I lined them up on her with pins, and I also made some last minute adjustments to the shirt, which I showed you how to do earlier, where you just flip it inside out before you sew it like closed when you connect to the skirt, and you can just bring it in to make it a better fit, and so it looks better. And then once it was finally time and we were both happy with how it fit, I went along with a straight stitch, and I kept the shirt on the inside. I didn't cut off the excess because I thought like it could be a little extra protection against like wrinkling and kind of see-throughness, but it wasn't see-through at all. So then I went along and I single stitched it, or straight stitched it, all along the midriff. Got a little messy here because I had to double stitch it a couple times to fix it, but no one could see it, so that's okay. But yeah, and then I did the same for the back, so I hemmed it all along after I pinned it all along the shirt where I wanted it, and then I also hemmed the back. That's just the shadow, hold on. And then I did the same thing all along the back, and it actually came out really clean, and I was very happy. And then I had to put a pin here just to hold it down because she was wearing it and it was kind of windy that day, I think, or just to make sure it didn't like fly everywhere. But you can even put a little stitch over there if you want to keep it down, or you don't even have to do it, but we just put it just so it was more secure and it didn't reveal anything. But yeah, and then we strung the strings to the back, and it was done.